You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis and Dr. Emily. How to make sure you don't get played. Ladies, oh my Lanta, welcome to Life Check Yourself. It is time for that moment where we review the grand finale of that little television program I love to hate, The Bachelor. Oh, what can we learn about dating? Oh, God. A lot. I have here Dr. Emily and Chris, our man panelist, for a rip-roaring conversation. We were meeting before the show, and Dr. Emily was like, that show made me feel sick to my stomach. Let's just start there. What about the whole relationship unfolding made you feel sick?
Oh my God, so many things. So where do I start? Just the absolute, it was shocking, the lack of empathy that Clayton had for everyone. I think that's the big piece. But then the other piece is this, and the after the final rose discussion, this whole no regrets because we all had our happy ending. And I hate that because it's such a cop out, and that's the part that left me feeling really gross, was they're and now everybody's fine. And I was like, no, they're not. And this is not okay. And it's not okay to think or act like this is okay.
Well, that's true. And that's what's real. So there's so many topics we're going to discuss here today. But one of the things that just really pissed me off, and I think you guys were pointing it out as we were watching the show, is and we've all been that person, at least I have, where someone is breaking up with you or doing something, or you're spilling your guts to someone and they're just looking at you and you can see they're being stop talking. Stop talking. Yeah. When is this going to be over? Stop talking. And there's a moment where you're in that vulnerable, unfolding of your soul. And I remember being in those moments where I'm oh my God, I'm invisible right now. It feels 100 times worse. And I feel like this man, this boy child, every single time throughout the show, and it just peaked on the show last night. Every time someone speaks to him, he's and someone taught him to acknowledge and validate. Clearly taught him, I understand. I hear you. That is so sad. It's it's this. So when you say the lack of empathy, because I think when someone's dating, how do they know if someone doesn't have the ability to be empathetic? What does that mean?
Yeah. I felt like Emily as well when I was done. Are you watching Euphoria, Marni?
No.
Oh my God, you feel so off, and that's how I felt when I was done too. And I was like, why do I feel so off? And I think also similar, but I felt off because I feel like he was doing the very inauthentic thing of playing the Bachelor Nation word salad game where he write a bunch of, when in trouble, just grab into the bowl and pull out some bullshit that everybody's, that uses empathy, follow my heart, all these, or
follow my heart. Oh,
it didn't mean anything.
No.
Right? No, and I think so. I can try to answer your question is a lack of true empathy. One way to know for sure if they're just saying the things going through emotions, but he was so not specific. Everything, it was almost, it really was like a copy pasta of the same thing. He sold one girl to the other thing, and then let's not get started how he decided to save time and break up with them both in the same room.
Yeah.
So many interesting, this wanting to get it over with. But with that said, I'm going to set myself up to be punched on a little bit because yeah, but the gals who don't know, Marni's known me for a long time, and I'm still, I won't say an evolved man child, but I'll say an evolving man child. I'm not there. But so I definitely did resonate with some of the things, the not so great things Clayton did, and the zoning out things, Marni. I was thinking when you were like, we've all been there, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I've totally zoned out, and like, please just let me leave and let me get this over with thing that he's done as well. So I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I was like, oh yeah,
I've done that, and that's what's crazy. I said to you guys, like, I feel like he's dead in the eyes. You know, like they were saying all these things to him, and he was just like, there was just like a vacancy, and I don't know if it is like he's just completely emotionally unavailable, which leads me to like my favorite moment when he says to Gabby, I love the salad game, you know, where you pull something out of the Bachelor script pile, and he says, can I walk you out?
Yeah.
And she's like, no.
Gabby was the best.
Like,
she was like,
she was sickened by the but like, what is wrong with your brain, bro? She was like, no. Like,
yeah. So one thing that Gabby really talked about, and I think this is a difference between her and Rachel also, which is obvious in their reactions even to Clayton. So just for those of you who didn't watch, Rachel like gets broken up with in the group breakup, and she's like sobbing. Her eyelashes were literally falling off her face. And she's like, no, you're going to love me. Please pick me. Right. And then there's Gabby, who's like, you're gross. I'm so not attracted to you. Like, you're vile. Like, she was just so completely not attracted. And in the conversation, I mean, what a really powerful way of articulating your disdain for someone without being a psycho bitch. Like rewatch that. Like, that was like, she was so good. I love when she said, you literally sound ridiculous right now. Yeah. Because that's what everyone's thinking when you're watching it.
No, Gabby's, she was a class act. She spoke very, very well under very high stress and turmoil. And yeah, I was so impressed with the way she was able to articulate what everybody was feeling. And yeah, did it without going, yelling, did it without acting out, just was like, this is ridiculous, and I'm leaving. Yeah.
And she was basically, she pointed out that she just like, I don't know you, and I don't trust you. Yeah. And what the difference is between, I would say Gabby did it with dignity, took the breakup, and it's amazing that I don't know how she did it, but I think Rachel was probably a more normal reaction, although neither one went psycho. That blew my mind, but maybe it's because of cameras or whatnot. But
right.
She just stayed. Yeah. I loved how Gabby was able to not make it about her and not take it personally. And she was like, no, buddy, this is you. I've showed up. I've carried my ball to the end zone, and now you're leaving. And yeah, whereas I think Rachel, it really hurt her. And not saying it didn't hurt Gabby, but they did react very different ways.
Yeah. So we talk about like what is like emotional maturity, because in the ending minutes when Jesse Palmer, the host, says, so what because they're now the Bachelorettes, what are you looking for in a guy? And Gabby says, someone who is emotionally mature. And she's looking, there's a lot of conversation about, mature love and immature love. Mm. And we talk on our campus all the time about how your childhood self, like if you don't unpack that and stop operating from the unmet child needs, then basically a child is trying to date and create relationship in an adult body. Right. And that's where we get into this very vast experience of finding love on this season than any other season that we've had, because it's like he went to Walmart and he just wants to pick everything, but then in the end, he's only going to play with one toy regularly. So what do you think is the difference between immature and mature love, like dating from an emotionally whole adult place? And what is Clayton doing to demonstrate one way, and how is Gabby demonstrating another? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, Clayton's definitely so extraordinarily immature. So I think the immaturity is the overly, like, so overly simplistic notion that if I feel a certain way and if I have good intentions, then I can do no wrong. I can't, like, that seems to be the place that he was operating from the entire time, was I feel something, so therefore I'm allowed to act on it. And as long as I don't have ill intent, then I'm a good guy. And it's so overly simplistic. And there's so much wrong with that. But just for starters, the idea that, he didn't take a moment to consider, how is this going to feel for somebody else? How are my words going to impact people? How is this going to look? How am I going to look on this, looking back? Like, there's just there's like all reason, logic was just completely left out of the equation. It was just, and that's what he kept saying over and over. It was when they kept asking, how on earth could you tell 3 people that you love them? He kept saying, well, I feel it. Well, I feel it. And it's not, and that is the immaturity, is not understanding that it's not just about your feelings. Yes, love is a feeling, but it's so much more than that. And that's the immaturity for me.
I mean, your boy Nick Vial. I'm just kidding. I know people hate him, but
no, I like Nick. I mean, I think he's
evolved.
I think he's definitely evolved.
By the way, he was looking rough on the first episode. He was like, he's handsomer than that. But
what's funny is these people are actually aging. They've been on so long. He's not like, 28. Now he's like 35 or whatever. Not that that's old, but like they're growing up.
And Clayton aged. He looks more, you could tell he's emotionally like, he can feel the energy of the world, like hating him and all the vitriol going toward him. But Nick Vial said something, and I think it was Gabby who said it. And what Emily was saying is, I think he's just barely starting to, peel back the first layer of what love is. And he's still at that very young child, like, well, love is all about me. It's all about the feelings I get. And one of the things that Gabby said, no, love is about caring for another person and
accepting
responsibility and being careful and thinking about them first and what this will do to them if I, just because I feel something, but, maybe not doing something because it'll feel good to you. And he doesn't seem to really be at that level yet. And I do agree that what Emily said, and I don't know if you disagree, Marni, but I don't think he did anything. It doesn't make it wrong. It's like involuntary manslaughter. He still hurt somebody. He's still guilty. But it seems like, I don't know, Marni, did your view change that he's a Juan Pablo style guy who's out there to hurt people, or is he just as culpable as any bad guy?
I think that the only reason why I put him in the Juan Pablo category is because I really think that he's not stupid. And so I think that, and his parents don't seem to be complete idiots. I feel like we're talking about a 15-year-old, which is insane, right? Because I want to say, like, I feel like his parents raised him to know better. That you don't just bang chicks and then, you just don't do that and then expect there to be no consequence. And so I think that what makes me think he's a jerk is that I think he's like super selfish. I don't think he's so dumb or emotionally unintelligent that he doesn't have an inkling. Like, if you're a dude and you're a football player, I think like, just from the locker room, the energy of like, hey, like, what do I do to get this chick to, fuck me? Because when he gets so excited when they say I love him earlier in the season, right? He's like, yeah, I got one. Like, I got one, right? So I think he's aware of that, like, that feeling of conquest. I love when Rachel said, so did you just tell me you love me to sleep with me? And I think he did it to win. I think there were so many things on Twitter about like trying to go for 3 for 3, trying to sleep with. I think there's a little energy of that. That's why I don't think he's completely like, I think he's a wannabe player. He just has no game.
Here's how bad it got for me. I literally was Googling, like looking up the like psychopathy, sociopathy scale.
Yeah. Okay. I know you said you were like, is he a sociopath?
Like, it truly got that bad for me. And obviously I am not like diagnosing anybody with anything, but it literally is so borderline for me that I'm like, is it that you are feeling all these emotions and you're just so tuned out and you're so exhausted and over it that, yeah, as Chris was saying, you're just like, okay, can I just get this over with so I can be done? And that's what we're seeing, that this lack of empathy is coming from that place. Or I'm like, are you truly just not feeling empathy? I mean, and not learning anything. That's what was so stark for me. And that's where I really, really took a dark turn, was when and the first episode, the Monday night episode, was, you know, he tells Rachel and Gabby, you know, Susie left and I love all three of them. I slept with two of you. And they're both devastated and Gabby wants to leave. And he convinces Gabby to stay. And he's like, I'm sorry. I know I hurt you both.
I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for you.
Yeah, I'm fighting for you. And exactly just recycling these lines of just give me one more day. Just give me one more conversation. And then one day, whatever, 2 days later, goes and does the exact same thing, goes and hurts them again the exact same way, saying, I love Susie the most. And like, I'm breaking up with both of you at the same time in a group conversation. And that was where I was like, you didn't learn anything from this first experience. And that's where I guess I'm on the Gabby train, where I'm like, I feel such a lack of trust that I feel physically repulsed by him.
Yeah, and that's how I felt too. And I'm wondering if a producer pointed out to him, like, dude, we have you on camera saying you love her the most and you're using whoever I love the most thing. You've got to like get ahead of this because you're going to be called out for it, right? And then Gabby's like, you said you loved her the most. You knew that. You said to me, I don't know who, I have to figure out who I love the most. Like, you're just full of crap. Which leads me to my next question, which is, again, we're not talking about a 15-year-old. So if you have children, this will be helpful for you also. You know, like, are there different levels of love? Can you love more than one person? Like, Gabby is like, you don't quantify love. You know, it's just like, I love you. I don't love you the most. And then he says, I realize you can't really love three people at once. You know, like fucking Scooby-Doo. And so, like, what do you guys make of that, Chris? Like, this whole idea of, like, you know, there's levels of love and you can love people differently romantically.
Yeah, I think, I guess I could empathize a little bit with him, and I think he's a caring person. By the way, is there, like, do you guys have in your training like a term for the nice guys who, like you said, like a nice guy fuckboy? Because I think those are the guys that hurt the most, because it's not that player bartender who, you know, blows you a kiss on the way out and doesn't ask for your number. It's the guy who gives you these feelings and asks you to meet his family, and then goes and then hooks up with the other girl as well. And you're like, wait, what? And, you know, he hotwires all the buttons and he gets all that hardcore boyfriend benefits as well as the physical benefits. And he is a good guy, and you see the potential, and he says all the right things. Is that something that? Yeah,
I mean, I think the player, that's what I'm saying. I think the player comes in lots of different, like, you know, shapes and sizes. And I think that this is sort of like that pickup artist vibe, right? Where you take these kind of nice, nerdy guys and you try and teach them how to get laid. That's sort of like, that was Colton. That was Clayton, because he's literally like you guys have said many times, he's just using the same words over and over again. Like, you know, and he even says, like, I'm going to try and convince her. Like, it's not like, dude, go into sales. I mean, you know, like, he really is like, I have to convince. There's a lot of words that I got really triggered by in these episodes. It's just like that word, like, I need to convince her, you know, like, there's this urban legend they're perpetuating, like, that love should be really hard and you should fight for it, and you lay down your dignity and your self-worth because you've made this commitment. And I think that is not true. I think that there's emotional abuse going on. And I have to say, because we were talking about, you know, in the end, spoiler fucking alert, he ends up with Susie. And she just disregards the way he treated her. And he says, that was out of my character. And I raise my eyebrows to that because I think that actually is his character because all the other things are so scripted and deadpan and following the rules and playing the part. And that's the only time I saw that boy come alive.
Yeah, that's true. I did hear, so she was on Nick Viall's podcast and she said they talked more about what happened and that he did think in the moment that she was there to be the Bachelorette and that she had been playing him. And that's why he got so upset, it's still not okay the way that he reacted, but that was his explanation. But I don't, at this point, I don't believe like really anything.
You know what? And I think,
making excuses for everything at this point.
Yeah. And to answer your question, I think that about the different levels of love, and no, I do think as far as actual love, real love, the love where you love somebody, you think about them first and their happiness. That yes, he wasn't. I don't think he's in that with anybody. Has actually felt that, which is a shame. I love, Marni, that you pointed out something because I was feeling kind of sorry for him. Like, well, maybe he doesn't know, or he had a tough family or upbringing. But from what I saw, his home didn't look shattered and broken. He looked like he had two intelligent parents. Their lines of communications are open. I got the look from his father and his mom. They're like, oh, here he goes with his bullshit again. Like,
yes,
you can tell that they've been trying to coach this knucklehead for so many years, and he just won't listen to him. So they're finally like, fuck it, go on a show and embarrass yourself, and you'll figure it out, or you won't. But you can tell they've given up. And again, I always like, but look at the data. Like, why is this really, seemingly kind, nice, tall, physical buff guy? Why is he still single? There must be a reason. I think what Susie did, and this isn't great because I think Emily's onto something. I think Emily, I think what Susie did is she just stopped believing his bullshit. She goes, you know what? I'm just going to take it, all of his I love yous and this, I'm going to take it for an ounce. And not actually for what he's claiming it to be. And so she seems to really have him on this measured, we'll see kind of short leash, which I don't really trust you or believe you, but I'm just waiting for you to screw up again, which is no way to go into a relationship. And
like I'll approve it to you.
Job, right? All these things, like keep proving in detail until you prove me otherwise. You're full of shit.
Well, because in the end, like, I do think that he's got this low self-esteem. And so he was trying to, and I know a lot of our listeners, and I used to be this way, right? Like, my worthiness comes from like how hot of a person I can get, likes me or wants to be with me. And then the typical, like, I love the person who doesn't want me, right? And so now, like, if I make up a story about the future of their relationship, right? What you said, Chris, is like, he just wants the one who doesn't want him to love him. So then he gets in this, like you said, the short leash. Do you like me now? Pick me now. Do you like me now? And that is definitely not sustainable. Plus, I think I said to you guys, the minute there's an actual conflict, douchebag is going to come out and treat her like crap. And I just hope she's like, I'm out, man. You know what? That was your character. Because that boy needs some serious help.
Yeah. And she's out there, of course, she just has to like defend him now. She put herself in that position. And yeah, so she was saying, we've had arguments and he doesn't do that anymore. But yeah, she also is saying like she's coaching him, like she is his coach. She is like, this is what a feeling is. This is how you treat people. Like, she's literally having to like teach him how to be in a relationship while they are dating now, and that has to not feel good. I loved how, also worth noting, he is on such a ban for using anything that has anything to do with love and grown up emotions. Do you remember that what's his name? Jesse asked if he was, going to propose to her, and she goes, "Nope, he's not allowed to. And if anybody does it, I'm going to do it." Did you guys?
Yes, I was like, what?
Hell, he's not even. He's on a moratorium. He can't say certain words and things because he's so full of shit.
And that's what. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I feel like we say this every season, but that kind of this very submissive role that he's had to take. I do not see that lasting more than like 6 to 9 months. Cause I think exactly that's not who he really is. He can, bear down and just say, yes, I'll do whatever you say. And I'll move to be with you and do all but eventually he is so stubborn. That's like the kindest word I can use, is stubborn in his belief that he is right and his emotions are right, and that means he gets to do whatever he feels. That will surface again and it will not work out.
Absolutely. I think the thing that's interesting too, I always say love is necessary, but it's not sufficient. And I think that there are just so many gaps in the threads of that hold this thing together. I just can't even. The other thing I want to say about this show, this season, or at least the last 2 episodes, it was like choreography. I felt like they were like, all right, we have Clayton. He is Clay. He'll basically just do whatever the fuck we want. So, we're just going to do this. We're going to put this person last. We're going to do this. These women, they're going to leave because he's such a dumb fuck. And then we're going to show this thing and we're going to put Neil Lane here. We're going to have the parents here. We're going to have grandpa here. The whole thing was like so
all the
choreographed.
Old people in the background.
Yeah, it was like, oh my goodness gracious. And that is the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that is the whole season. The whole season lacked authenticity. Right? It was just a lot of like you said, it was scripted, unscripted TV at its worst.
It was. And I think that's why at first I was like scratching my head. It's like, what is wrong with this Gabby chick? And why does she stick out so much? And what I think I liked about her is, yes, she was, and going off script, she was more authentic and it was so different, and she wasn't worried about saying, no, I'm not going to take this rose or I'm going to leave or whatnot. But it did feel, it's a little insulting. I know what you mean, what you're saying right now, Marni. I felt like, like they were just bullshit, like ABC is just bullshitting us. And okay, now I'm going to, like you said, it's not a random order. Everything's so well thought out. What's going to create the most drama? And I'm sure they gave little hints to Clayton and to the girls about what he's, what bad things he's done, and to yell about him. And it worked too well.
Yeah, exactly. It was too smooth. Well. Yeah. And that's what was missing because sometimes when these people are getting eviscerated, by the people they hurt or whatever, you could just see their pain in their face, right? But he was like, remember Katie when she was just stone cold, dead?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just this ability to completely shut down is terrifying. If you're dating someone like that and you suddenly feel like they've left the room, run the fuck away as fast as you can. That is not something you can fix or is your job to fix. So let's talk about this one.
That's huge, by the way, Marni. That's huge. That's worth
I want to say more about that because that's what left the worst taste in my mouth was that what is empathy? Empathy is I feel what you feel. And how do I know that? I see it on your face, right? And they do studies on this all the time that, whether it's a little micro expression or a little micro muscle movement, if I see your face is sad, my face will start to be sad too. There's lots of ways I can measure this. There was nothing coming from him that showed me that he actually understood the pain he caused. And then the worst part to me is, again, this production, this pretty little bow we're going to put on the end of it and say, see, everybody got their happy ending. Gabby and Rachel get to be Bachelorette. Everybody's happy now. So it was all worth it. And I hate that. Yeah, sentiment.
Because it wasn't. And that, you know what, Emily, that is what pissed me off too. At the end when his smile, that's probably the only time I saw him smile the entire time we watched the whole show, an actual smile.
Yeah.
But it was a smug motherfucker smile.
Yes.
I just had to get through these bitches so I could be sitting next to this girl that I bet she fucks me now, she fucks me now. And that's that winning thing. And that's the other thing that if and that's the do you have to sleep with somebody to get them to love you? Do you have to do something to get someone to love you? And I think there's a lot of that embedded in every character except Gabby. You know, like, I tried everything. I gave you everything. I tried to be this. I tried to do that. I thought, you know, like, why didn't you love me still? You know?
Yeah.
Like, and
Wow. It's because Gabby grew up with this. I think she said her mom used a lot of conditional love.
Yes.
So she's seen every playbook out there from her own mother, which is like the most painful thing you could go through. And clearly she's done work to learn and to heal from that. And now is putting that knowledge and understanding into her dating. And she's going to be, I think she's going to be really successful because she's seen it. And she's like, this is not what love is. Yeah. Love is not measured. Love is not given conditionally. And I know exactly what this looks like. And I'm not having it at all.
I just had a premonition. My premonition is that ultimately, you know, this new season is both of them are going to date the same 35 guys or whatever it is. I wouldn't be surprised if Gabby removes herself.
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah.
Right. She's like, you know what? You're my girl. And this is totally making us behave in a way that is not, you know, how I want to be. And I'm not willing to put my self-worth and my self-respect on the line. And so I would be very curious to see how she responds to that, because now they've added another pressure point, right? Of like, dating the same guy that your best friend is dating in front of you. And that's sad. And that's evil, to be honest, because everyone was like, this is the super couple of the show. And they basically now are going to be dating the same guy. So that's just my little future forward.
Yep. I think you're right, because kind of what we're saying, just based on how they both handled the breakup, whereas, yeah, you could sense it was tearing something apart from Rachel, that she really needed it. And Gabby was very sad and very hurt by it, but she didn't have that sense that she was going to be empty and tore apart. And she wasn't going to fight to the end and sit there. She's like, nope. Both times she got up and left. Nope. Like you wanted her to. She noped out of it. So I could see her noping out of being on the show as well. Whereas, where Rachel would not say she's going to sit there.
No, because she just wants somebody to love her ass. Okay.
Yep.
I want to make sure we get all these amazing questions. So do you have to sleep with the guy to make him fall in love with you?
No.
That one's easy. Okay. Let's see. Why do men and women fall for the people they have to fight for? Why do we fall for the people that don't love us, and we can't get all the people who are really amazing out of our, we can't fall in love with them. And so we just sabotage ourselves. Why do we do that?
Because it's boring. I mean, like neurochemically, I think that's a big reason of what's going on, right? It's the anxiety that a person who is, you know, not stable or not stably present, the anxiety that gives you feels exciting. It's interpreted as excitement. It's interpreted as chemistry. And so that I want that nice, fun adrenaline rush. And so I just keep going and getting my hit from the guy who keeps screwing me over. Yeah. And the nice guy who's there and is stable. Well, I don't want to use the term nice guy anymore, because now that's
he's reconstructed it.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy who's genuine and is ready for a relationship and is emotionally available and all those things, it might be felt as boring.
100%. And then on that, with all the neurochemicals that are being released with the words, the cliche words of falling in love, fighting. These are all things that get your adrenaline and heart and really, you know, make you feel, you know, scared and danger and alive. And and just look at all these goddamn dates. Yeah. The ones that are so successful, that take them up on hot air balloons or walking across crazy, you know, heights, and they really get them going. But when our biggest complaint, Marni, is like, well, where's the real talk? Where is the actual sit down and flesh things out, and how we, you know, where do you live, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I don't advise dating someone for, you know, 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it is, and then deciding to sell your house, move across the country. I would slow that shit down just a little bit. Okay. Let's see. What do you think about asking someone to stay versus pressuring them to stay? When Clayton was like trying to sell her at the fake ass dumb as fuck proposal thing.
That was a horrible speech.
That was so, I literally stopped listening. I stopped listening. I was like, what? Oh, so bad. Yeah, I'm like, there had to be a teleprompter behind Susie.
Yeah, it was bad. All of it just felt so gross. No, but I'm the same as you, Marni. I feel very strongly on this. You should never have to convince somebody to stay with you.
Yeah.
And I think if you need like a rule, it's one time. You can have one conversation of like what happened, or can we have closure or whatever. After that, leave them the fuck alone. If they don't want to be with you, then let them leave. Like it is so frustrating to see this played out. I mean, it's being played out with Kim and Kanye right now too. It's being played out in so many different pop culture venues that this, I'm going to fight for my person and I'm not letting you go and I'm going to stand up for us. Like, no, if they don't want to be, you have to let them go. You can have one conversation. You can have one, hey, can I just like check in and see where you're at and whatever. And after that, please leave them alone. Please just leave it.
Talk about dating with dignity. Life check your damn self. Okay, sorry.
It must be enthralling. That seems to be that cat and mouse game. That seems like with Susie and Clayton seem to be, they seem to like that dance where she gets up and leaves and he's like, fine. And then he closes off, she leaves and then comes back. It doesn't really leave, actually hangs out in Iceland for whatever reason, comes back and then leaves the house.
She hung out because they're like, sorry.
Marni, have you ever been chased and did you love it? And did it feel, because I've never
been chased.
Oh God. Yeah. I've told him, it's like, dated girls and they want me to chase them and fall for the dumbest things all, but like nothing serious. Like, no, I'm not doing that game. But you've never been one of those women, or have you ever coached women who just set up stupid fights and leave for no reason and want to be chased?
They do, because for sure. I mean, I think there's that feeling of like power, like I'm going to leave you, or threatening to leave, or giving ultimatums. And that's not a healthy, talk about mature love. That's just not a healthy situation. Right. And so, and threatening to leave, like those are really, insidious things that you want to really check. And I think I see a lot of ladies sabotage with, we call it like a high quality guy, meaning like just that he's like you described it so great, Emily, like, looking for an actual healthy relationship, has some emotional intelligence, available, not married, et cetera, et cetera. And that can feel really boring because they're into you and it feels easy. And there's that famous Groucho Marx, I wouldn't belong to any club that would have me, right? And so that's some really serious neural rewiring that has to happen so that you can receive healthy love, and so it's interesting. Okay, let me ask you this last question because I think this is really important. Well, there's two I want to get to before we end. I know a lot of people wonder, should I date someone who has never been married or, doesn't have a lot of experience, or hasn't, had a relationship for a long time, whatever it is. I think there's no rule for that for sure. But like, what are the signs that you look for to know that somebody has enough experience, in life, in love, to actually be able to fall in and maintain a healthy, loving relationship?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There's definitely no clear rule, but definitely at a certain point, it does turn into like a yellow flag of like, oh, you're whatever, like 45 and you've never been in a committed relationship. Like there is something going on there. What to look for is just, I think the first sign would be, how do you handle an argument?
Yeah, that's great.
There's a lot of stuff going to come out there. Like if they've learned how to have a healthy argument and negotiate and yield and all that, great. That's promising. But yeah, if the first time you have an argument, they're walking away or saying I'm done with you, or getting really angry or whatever, then that's a good time to hit pause and reconsider.
I think on the opposite side of the coin that, Emily's talking about some of the yellow flags, I would also say to be very mindful of the bright green flags, and be like, and to take pause and measure and be like, hold on, why? Okay, he just said he loved me, for example, but he's 45 years old or whatnot in this example, and he's never been married or in love, and he has no kids. But now he's saying, yeah, he can see himself having kids and these things. Is this bullshit? And
right.
One way to get down to it is like we were saying earlier. I think there's a lot of truth in some of these, these people. Like, well, why are they on the show and why are they free to do this? But to really get specific. And Marni, you're great at this. Oh, really? Like, what is it about me that makes you want to have kids with me?
Exactly.
And to really have them, they're just like, oh. Kind of blank out. Well, that usually that would get you drunk off love, and then you want to sleep with me, and then you fall for me. Then I'm in control. But to really ask those follow-up questions, is be inquisitive and ask for the details, and see if those details, if they jive, because you'll know, especially details about you, and you'll know if they're actually true or if he's saying what it is, and then just if it is true. If the guy really is there or girls is getting there for the first time, just to remind them with love, hey, I'm really, this is so fantastic. I'm feeling these ways too, assuming it's all true. And you know what? This is all new to us, and it's been let's really enjoy this and proceed with caution and careful, so we can just really make the most of this amazing courting time of being in love. Versus, I do think Clayton, he was like a little kid he was like an 8-year-old kid who got drunk at a party, and he got a little sip of the punch, and he just kept going back to it, and he just wasn't ready for it yet. And the next thing you know, he's knocking over the Christmas tree and spilling all over.
I freaking love that. One thing that I think is really funny was they had Claire Crawley on there as like an expert
That's a reason.
Yeah, who talk about like it's a red flag if it's a green flag. Who's like, oh, I like you, you're cute, you're tall, I like your Insta profile, I love you, I choose you. And that's really I think both are true. I think if someone is too into you, meaning like not like that they're kind to you, but that they're future pacing really quickly, they're declaring all these ththings. It's like we call it on our campus, like be cautiously optimistic. Right. And do those follow-ups. And, we always say, the slower we go, the faster we get there. So I think that's important. Okay. Last question.
And also with guys, it doesn't necessarily have to be age, but I'd say to be cautiously optimistic. And Marni, you've known some of these ladies. I used to date one who, would think she met Mr. Perfect. Right. And he's so perfect. And he's so wonderful. And also ask that ladies, well, hey, no, you possibly, if possible, that they're closing their eyes when they're showing the yellow flags or red flags,
right?
Just squinting them close so they can't see the truth as well. So, and Clayton, remember that the reason he's on the show, babe, because he looked like the perfect candidate, the perfect man.
Because he played nice with kids.
He builds great forts, Marni. What else do you need?
Which is so funny that he basically vibes with like 10-year-olds because he's fucking 10.
That should have been a warning sign.
Exactly. Like, who are your best friends? Mrs. Smith's third grade class. They're like my peeps.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, God. Was Susie more upset about that he slept with other people or that he said that he loved them in his weird scripted, not only scripted, but choreographed the same way? Oh my God. This guy literally is just
good question, huh?
The worst. But anyway, yeah. So what do you think? What is she more upset about? The sex or the I love yous?
I think the I love yous. Because she knows, I think, and I kind of have heard her talk about this a little bit on Nick's podcast, but she knows she's last. She's seen the two other girls come back from their dates glowing with happiness. And now you're going to sit down with me and tell me you love me, like that does not add up. And I think that's what it was more than the sex.
Emily just convinced me the same thing. Yeah, because you remember how, and I pointed this out, how she was seething and hurt and crying, and then she showed us up to this date, boom. She was just a bad bitch, stone cold, nothing on her face. And she was just, you could tell something changed inside her. And I think that.
But you went on the date. Are you talking about this weird spa date?
Yeah. How before that. So, she shows up and then you sit down and she tells them, but before all those dates, remember all the girls are coming back and she's an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she was like a different robotic person. It was like it was there for the emotions, doing her, I don't know, an interpretation of sexy and fun and flirty, but I wasn't quite buying it.
I think she was nervous.
Yeah, because maybe she wanted to, but I think that somewhere around she's like, oh, this hurts too much, and well, it's a lot more socially acceptable to say, you don't sleep, you're not supposed to be sleeping with other people, and so I think she just went with that one versus. The sex thing.
Both. She said both. It was both things. but I think ultimately it was you're telling me you love me, and now you're telling me you love me the most, and I'm pretty certain you just slept, like you, or actually no, he did say that he had told both of them. Like, I think that was we saw this surprise on her face when he said I love you, because she just was like, well, that does not add up with everything that
which is why when he says I love you the most, like that, the fact that he just said that would be like, okay, I'm out, because that's just weird. Like, what does that even fucking mean, you weirdo? It was like, again, I have to make child references because that's what kids say, like, it's my mostest favorite toy. I love it the mostest. Yeah, I love it the mostest. Okay, so let me ask you this.
It's cleaner to say, you shouldn't have slept with people versus it's just strange to tell everybody, well, why did you break up? Oh, because he said he loved me the most. That involves probably too much explanation. And it hurts.
Yeah. I mean, what I really want people to see is that, like, the incredible ability that we have to silence our inner voice when stuff is ridiculous, when we're acting from our childhood selves. You know, like Gabby can sit there and be like, this is literally ridiculous. And someone else can be crying their eyes out being like, pick me. And it's the same situation. I loved that Rachel at the end is like, my tears are not for you. My tears are in my shame, right? Mm-hmm. That I begged this douche fucking asshole, dude to like not put me in the car. Like, I think she was just mortified. And that's why I wish, like, if he would have had one little like watering eye of like, wow, I was such a jerk. Duh. Okay. Duh.
That is the sticking point for me, is that he felt no shame, and we have to feel shame. That is what gets us to correct behavior. And he showed not an ounce of shame, not an ounce of guilt. He said the words. There was no emotion behind it. I don't think he's correcting any of this.
No, definitely not. So let me ask you this. When somebody, vows to change, should you take them back? Like, do you lose respect for Susie? Because Susie in the memes was like the badass queen bitch, like, yes, queen. That was on Monday night. On Tuesday night, I didn't check because I was so disgusted. But, what do you think about her decision? Do you think that she handled it the right way? What does Twitter Nation think about that?
I think, God, it's so tough because, I can't imagine. So she went and took him back or asked for him back before seeing what happened. And so we know Clayton loves to tell a half truth. So that was my big question, was like, okay, so she just saw the breakups with Gabby and Rachel and everything that actually went down.
Right.
And seems fine with it. And that's where I'm like, I don't know how you could be okay with that. That seems like she's really turning a blind eye or rationalizing away some major, major red flags. And yeah, I feel icky about it. And she said too on Nick's podcast, like, well, I'm just so happy they got to be Bachelorette. And again, it's this fake notion of everybody's happy now, so it's all worth it. And I really, really, that like disgusts me. So I'm, not happy.
And I also, like, I believe even when Jesse says, do you love him? And she does some funny, like, yes, I love you or whatever. I love you. Yeah. And I was like, okay, she's distancing herself.
Yes.
For sure. I think she intellectually is like, I love you. I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little Bachelor producer action to spark this reconnection in their desire to have a fucking happy ending, because maybe they don't want him. Because I said to Jeremy, this is what pissed me off about the show. How unique to actually end it where the fucking Bachelor doesn't find anyone. That's an ending, right? That's fresh. That's a fresh ending.
Great.
Yeah. It was like, and I saw all those memes about like, we want him to end like with that meme about he doesn't have the girlfriend, the job, or the whatever it is. Like, yeah, like, because we want there to be consequences. And so, I just think that, it's like in real life, it's like, your best friend is like, can you just get back together with, Jane, because, you're best friends with her boyfriend, and let's just all make it easy.
It's inconvenient. Yep, it's inconvenient for ABC, and so can you just do that? I didn't like how Jesse threw out like, hey, so Clayton, well, hey buddy, come on, here we are. You got the girl. It was worth the ride, right? It was worth it. He's like, totally, and like it's full of shit. No,
it's gross.
Yeah, you know what? You don't even have the girl, most likely, like you pointed out, Marni, or you're predicting. I don't see it lasting. Susie seems like the girl who will just carry her own box of Band-Aids and will just keep on covering up. I think that, it takes her a while to get clarity. I think eventually she's going to wake up with all these outweighs over herself. She's like, nope, not for me. The same way she was kind of when she was like, this doesn't feel right, Clayton, you hurt my feelings. I need to take away. So I feel like she's kind of numbing herself out, and she's going to wake up out of this and give the guy deuces. But after she gets her fit, fat, fun box. And, of course.
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say is like, this is like my warning. If I was going to put a warning label on this season, is there's a lot of modeling of ladies like being vulnerable and telling them how they feel, and also some pretty good conflict. Like when this happened, it made me feel like that. Like I think a lot of the ladies at the end did a pretty good job. And so if you are being brave and you're dating someone or you're in a relationship and you put your heart out there and they try to turn it on you, right? Not that it's gaslighting, but just say, well, but you did that. And that really, that's just like a fucking strategy of manipulation. Of like getting out of hot water. If you can't see any of those facial gestures, we talked about the victim crying on purpose to try and elicit somebody to finally love you or get a reaction from you. Like, don't do that. You don't need to do any of that shit. Like the guys that are going to respond to any of that are not the men that you want to be with. That's sort of my big lesson from season 474 of The Bachelor. Chris and Emily, what are your final thoughts and lessons that we learned from this season?
I couldn't agree more with you that it's love. It's hard. Doesn't always end the way you want it, and not all that. And that's what we love about the show is not all that glitters is gold. We got to Matt James is perfect, or Pete's perfect, or whatnot. And in the end, it's all you really uncover who you are. Take the time to ask those questions to really figure out who you are. Get over the enamored part as quick as you can, and start asking those and digging and finding out the real probing questions to make sure you guys really are on the same page.
Yeah, I agree with the take the time sentiment, because we heard all of those girls say, I thought you were the perfect man. They all were like head over heels for him. And then this, new information comes out that he actually doesn't have empathy or doesn't show it or whatever. And so, yeah, take time and be wise.
Yeah. And just by the way, if you're going to do the timeline, like, and this, I think they dated for like 10 weeks or whatever, don't be selectively mute. Notice, right? Like, why is this guy not picking Shanae, or why is he not getting rid of Shanae? Why is he attracted to the person who takes all the energy at the little kid's birthday party early in the season? Why is he, notice this shit, because I think what people do is they go, oh, it must be me, right? There must be something that I'm not seeing, or I'm too picky, or I'm being bitchy, or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, fucking trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Love it. I think the double duo Bachelorette sorority girl party isn't going to start until May, listeners. July. Wow. So you can trust that our reality show analysis will continue. And there's a rumor, but we're picking the show that we're going to evaluate, we're going to analyze. So stay tuned for that, because we cannot not have Chris and our experiences with Dr. Emily. We can't wait that long, because it's just too good.
I love you, Mark.
It's just too good. Ladies, whatever you do, take a nice long shower, cleanse yourself of this season, love yourself, and life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.